We're back, baby.
We're back, weebs.
After a long enough break to just flush all memory of anime out of my mind.
Yeah, I've been on a purely all-American TV diet for a few months now, so my palate was completely cleansed.
Yeah.
And ready to go.
It's like having a nice piece of, what is it, after you have some sushi to cleanse the palate?
Ginger.
Yeah, some ginger or like some coffee beans when you have to smell cologne. It's very, very nice palate cleanser and a good show to come back to.
So previously on Idiots Watching Anime, what did we do? Food Wars?
We did Food Wars.
With Raina Scully.
Oh, Food Wars.
Which is hard to top.
And
Food
she
Wars
had such
is-
a bad time, she left the country immediately after.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, Food Wars can do that to you. It's an exceptionally horny and exceptionally uncomfortable anime at times.
Yeah, even by anime standards, Food Wars was,
Like-
real horned up.
The first episode, I remember trying to show my girlfriend, like, hey, like, I've heard good things about this. Let's watch this anime together. And then immediately it's like this schoolgirl getting attacked and having like an octopus tentacle sex dream. And I'm like, oh, great.
Sorry about this.
I've ruined this forever.
Yeah, I felt weird, like, because my fiance came home while I was watching it, and I felt like it was the same kind of feeling as, like, if you got caught watching porn. Like, what the fuck are you watching?
Why couldn't you have just been jerking it? That would have been so
Yeah,
much
this would
easier
actually
to
been
explain.
better, yeah. I had to go into the nuance of it. But we should
It's Dan Casey.
introduce Dan Casey.
Casey is our guest this week.
Yeah. This week. This month
time.
of,
Yeah,
During
Dan.
this week-long episode.
And what did you make us watch? What would you force us to watch?
So, folks, today I made my...
JoJo, that the characters would all be children because that's a child's name, not
Yes.
not a grown-ass man's name.
No, and they are all grown-ass men in this anime.
Yeah.
They're quite grown.
Yes.
Some
Everyone
absolute units.
Just towering beef castles.
Yeah.
And then what I'd heard about it was I put not much, actually. It kind of seemed like it would be different just based on the name. And whenever people would suggest it, they would be like, you just got to watch it. So it didn't let on to anything about this. Now, we'll get into the third episode, but I did recognize a scene from the third episode because of like memes and
Yeah, that's part of the reason I
Animated
chose
gifs.
it, because
Yeah.
it's one of the most clipped and memeable moments from JoJo.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
And a real weird one, even in
Yeah.
context.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, no, in context, it doesn't make much more sense.
no. It's a fun scene.
Yeah.
But so we should probably talk about the episodes that you made us watch.
Yeah.
The first
we
episode,
don't watch full seasons on
No.
this show because who has the time? Even the animes I liked, like One Punch Man and Attack on Titan, it's taken me like a year to even get like halfway through them. So like
Yeah.
asking me to watch a whole season of anything
and we very
for a
rarely
podcast is too much.
very rarely watch things in the order they're supposed to go in. I mean, technically it's in the order, but it's skipping over a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So we watched 3 episodes. The first episode we watched was JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Phantom Blood, A Letter from the Past, which is season 1, episode 2. Then the next one, and the seasons get weird because they just become titles instead of like
Yes.
season whatever.
Yeah.
So the next one was JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders Strength. And then the last one that we watched was JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders Yellow Temperance.
And that is, Stardust Crusaders is technically season 3.
Okay, yeah. And people actually, when I posted about the fact that we were going to watch this, replied and being like, you know, which version or whatever. And I was like, all right, this is going to be immediately confusing.
It's because of all the subtitles, because it starts with Phantom Blood, and then basically you follow this family throughout the ages.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's dating back to this original Joestar family line.
Yeah, so that's...
Wait, okay.
Yeah.
The protagonist, at least.
This is where you need to start explaining things immediately.
Oh, yeah. The first one we watched took place in like the 1890s.
Yes. So I purposely chose a smattering of episodes to maximize sort of like stuff you might have encountered online, like a sense of the show. Stardust Crusaders, I'd say, is among the most beloved of the series. It's one of the longest, and where a lot of people sort of jumped on. Phantom Blood is where they set it all up. Basically, it starts out this guy, Jonathan Joestar, or Joseph Joestar, it's been too long. They all have names that can be shortened to JoJo.
Yeah.
And this guy, the heir to the Joestar family, they adopted this other kid named Dio, who turned out to be a real piece of shit and was trying to like steal the family's fortune after he gets like adopted into their good graces.
Yeah.
And
Real ungrateful prick.
Who killed his own father.
Dio killed his own father, as you learned in that episode.
But he kinda deserved
and
it.
We should probably preface this with, if you haven't seen the show, it's impossible not to spoil
late.
this. So
I mean,
please,
this is a spoiler that happens in episode 2, so I
Yeah.
don't feel that bad.
pause this and then watch the episodes that we just mentioned and then come back. Or if you don't care, it's fine.
Yeah. So basically, it's this like battle throughout time, and where the JoJo, the reigning JoJo of the Joestar family, Dio sort of gets these supernatural powers and becomes kind of like a vampire. And Joe, I think Joseph Joestar has to learn back in the 1800s has to learn how to control this thing called Hamon, which is energy within his body that he can sort of like channel into sunlight and like he uses that to fight the vampires. Later, as we see in Stardust Crusaders, this evolves into a more Pokemon-like thing called stands, where these people have these spirit avatars.
Yes.
Called stands. The hero in that one, JoJo has like he has something called Star Platinum, where so
there are many JoJos.
Yeah, so the JoJo we watched in episode 1 is a different person.
The JoJo you watched in episode 1 is like the grandfather, and then the like beefy guy who looks like Indiana Jones kind of
because
JoJo's is that original guy's son who you follow him in the second arc, and then you follow his son.
So I was so fucking confused by that in like the
third season.
I was like, which one of these guys is JoJo? That one looks like JoJo, but that one's Joseph, and this guy's Jokatsu or whatever.
What time? What like decade does the third season take place in?
Oh, that is in the 1980s. I believe.
Okay. So that makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, so
that's why they're dressed like that.
It starts in
like a boy band.
Starts in like the 1880s. Then the next one it kind of takes place around World War I or World War II.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
And then this one starts in the 1980s.
Do they have any involvement in the Earth's Greatest Wars?
Yes, and you can find that all in season 2 called Battle Tendency, where it's full of Nazis and gets super wild.
The names of everything all just reminds me of like glam metal band names.
Well, funny you should mention that because music has such a powerful influence on this show.
Certainly does.
Half the characters, like most of the characters you meet, are named for
Dio,
various.
Ronnie James Dio.
Yes. Yeah. And then as a character you got to meet in episode 2, the one I made you watch, Robert E.O. Speedwagon.
Oh, I didn't even pick up on that.
No.
Yeah, so he's REO Speedwagon.
And we should also preface this with I do believe that there is a dubbed version of this, but we watched subs.
I watched it. I rented it on Amazon.
Oh.
And so the first season was dubbed. It was actually a great dub. I was impressed with the dubbing. But then Amazon, not consistent at all in the second 2 episodes I watched. It was a subtitled version.
Gotcha. I've watched the subs. I do believe it's all dubbed and available. I watched on Crunchyroll. I don't know how long it's going to be on Crunchyroll for. I think it's for the foreseeable future.
Is that one of the ones that might get kicked off because of the?
No, because that's not. I don't think that's Funimation. I could be wrong about this. It might be. If it is Funimation, it might wind up going to Hulu.
Yeah.
If not, then it'll stay on Crunchyroll.
Okay.
Yeah, I watched it on that VRV.
On Verve.
Yeah, I guess that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Verve is nice because you can actually, if you have a Crunchyroll account, you can download episodes to watch offline while you're on a plane, which is usually what I do on a plane these days is just like catch up on anime. On
anime in the sky.
Yeah.
So, right out of the gate, I have to say, out of all, and we've watched some good ones.
Oh yeah.
This is one of the best intros to a.
Oh, the intro is fucking sick.
It's like it goes back and forth, and we are idiots. To me, it looks like it goes back and forth between like literally peeling off the pages of a manga, and that was another thing that I don't know if I'm accurate in saying this at all, but it seemed like out of all the shows that we've watched, the most that would seem like a true to what you would see in the panels of a manga show.
They do an excellent job of ripping it straight from the pages and making it feel like that, and like
so this was a manga before.
Yes, it started created by Hirohiko Araki in 1987. It's been around for a long time, and I think they're up to like the 5th season of it now, called The Golden Wind. It takes place in Italy, and I think that's streaming right now on Crunchyroll. Like they're doing the simulcast, but there's like 7 or 8 like arcs that have been. It's not ending. Every couple years he just comes out with a new one, and he's actually like a giant meme himself, Araki, because he is seemingly ageless. If you look up pictures of him, he's just been like this handsome like 30-year-old man for 30 years. Like he's in his 50s, but he does not look like it.
So he's a vampire too.
Yes, he put on that stone mask for sure.
But yeah, the music and the animation style in the intro specifically.
The outro, did you watch that at all? Such a roundabout by Yes.
I laughed out loud when Yes started playing.
I could not.
It was so fucking unexpected. I was like, what?
Dude, the first time that happened, I was like, You've got to be shitting me. There's no way they got the rights to this.
Because of that, I immediately, and I hate looking things up about any of these shows.
Yeah.
But when I heard that, I immediately had to look up why that was happening. Because like it must be just so jarring to have like watching this for the first time in Japan or something.
Yeah.
After like reading the manga and then have it being like, wait, what? Hold on, what is this outro? And apparently it was because I don't know if it was the guy who created the manga or did the show was like. Whenever he was writing, was listening to these songs and inspired by the songs.
Yeah, it's a lot. I think it's a lot of it's all coming from Araki's brain because he is very clearly influenced by music, like
very 80s or 70s, 80s.
Well, one of the characters that we didn't get to, but you meet later in season 1, is named Zeppeli. He's supposed to be Led Zeppelin.
Real on the nose.
Like one of the characters as well, like the orangutan and the strength episode.
Yeah.
His name, which I don't think they put in there, he wasn't named until a couple years later, is Forever, in a reference to Wu-Tang Forever.
Wow.
And it's because it's actually a pun in Japanese, because in Japanese, orangutan is how you'd say orangutan, and utan, the end of orangutan, is utan is Wu-Tang. Like it's just like a pun based on like utan.
Okay. Okay.
When I first heard it, I was like, this seems questionable. But then I read like the linguistics of it. They're like, oh, they're just making, it's just a sound alike.
Yeah.
But then in the season 3, they switched from Roundabout to a Japanese version of Walk Like an Egyptian by the Bangles.
It certainly is.
Very on the nose, because I believe they're trying to get to Egypt.
Cairo.
They are trying to
the
get to
end of it,
Cairo. Yeah, they look, JoJo is many things. Subtle is not one of them.
No, the show is not subtle at all. And that's going back to what I thought the show would be and what it ended up being, it was, I was less shocked by the stuff happening because in my brain, I had pictured it being not like Food Wars, but something akin to the fact where I was just going to have my mind blown every 2 seconds. And it ended up being a pretty straightforward action story that has a lot of like fantasy things going on, but also like a pretty straightforward story. And it was funny when you were mentioning like how this traverses multiple time periods and stuff. It actually it reminds me a lot of like what Batman has turned into, where they jump back in time to make new stories like about Batman, where Gotham by gaslight or gaslamp, or sorry, gaslight.
Robin, you're fine.
No, but and Court of Owls and stuff like that kind of goes back to the lineage of the Wayne family. Yeah, and that's what it kind of reminded me of in retrospect when I watched the first episode.
It is. I think it's fair to say that Scott Snyder just straight up ripped off JoJo for Court of Owls.
He's like, hold on, wait a second, we can go backwards in time?
This is very much like a saga of like fathers and sons like trying to escape their past from this like supernatural nightmare, because Dio is back in like you think he's dead, and Dio returns in Stardust Crusaders. But
as this kind of like being that watches from afar.
Yes, and like he's the one
with the little witch lady.
He's sending the agents. The witch lady by the name is named Enya.
Oh, perfect.
Named exactly.
I should have looked up the names for all
the name. That's my favorite part after watching an episode, is being like, who are these people?
Yeah.
Like what are they named for? I think in Yellow Temperance, if I'm not mistaken, the guy who operates Yellow Temperance is named Devo.
Ah, okay. Wow. Yeah, they're not really like taking any subtlety.
Yeah,
no,
very on the nose references.
And some of them are just like difficult to parse, because you're like, wait, why are they called this? Because it's a reference to like a song or an album. But
here's a question.
Yeah.
So there's like very often there's this like Japanese symbol when something
it'd be like kablam.
Oh, okay. Even more Batman references.
Yeah, and I think some of these, like, I don't know the exact Japanese sort of counterpoint for it, but JoJo is sort of notorious for having its own sort of unique onomatopoeia that doesn't quite make sense, but they just hammer them into the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
So it's just more meant to just like evoke like a creepiness or like some sort of feeling they're going for.
Okay. And there are definitely some creepy moments. When did the manga come out, and when did the anime come out, and when is the Netflix adaptation coming out?
I hopefully
never,
because like I don't want to see
Henry Cavill as
Zac
Joseph
Efron as Josuke.
Yeah,
like. The thing is, like, I don't think you could replicate these physiques in real life accurately.
No, these guys are fucking units.
The Rock and the Mountain.
Yeah. I guess
the guy's name from Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah. There was this singer who tried to replicate one of like the weird spine breaking poses they do, and she broke her coccyx doing it.
What?
Like, wait.
Just because she was like posing too hard.
Jesus.
Yeah, and it actually
They do some like weird ass
Yes.
like poses.
And it like goes like very realistic. Then he'll like subvert the colors and make them super surreal. So like suddenly Joe will have like green hair out of nowhere.
Yeah. I noticed that a few times.
But realistically, if you had an 80s new wave band with those old shoulder padded suits, you could pull off the look, steal this look. Just go to your mom's closet.
Exactly. You can easily cosplay as any of the JoJo characters by just raiding your mom's closet.
So
you're like a mom from the 80s literally had these outfits.
Yeah.
This probably was one of the biggest influences for Rob Liefeld.
Yeah.
Could
Well,
have been.
except you can see their feet.
Yeah.
With JoJo, the manga first came out in 1987. It's still
It's
ongoing.
like right when Rob
Yeah,
Liefeld
and
started.
this was part of Shonen Jump, which has like stuff like Dragon Ball Z and Naruto and Bleach, like very sort of like tales about like young people, usually boys, going on adventures and like getting stronger and raising their power level
and just having no negative qualities about themselves.
Exactly. Except this one,
Unless they're the villains. Yeah.
This one, like, they're pretty shitty people sometimes, but they call each other out on it. And, like, it's like surprisingly homoerotic compared to a lot of the other ones out there.
The second episode when they're on that boat fighting the monkey, the first time they show the squad, it seriously looks like a fucking boy band from like 1989 where you find out 10 years later that all the members were actually gay. And it's like, why didn't we know this at the time?
This is New Kids on the Block.
Yeah.
So with the first episode specifically, it's happening in the 1880s.
Yes.
I had no idea at first because they're playing football and stuff like that.
Yeah, spot of the old rugby.
So in this one, is there just this like permeating spirit, or is it tied directly to that mask that Dio gets access to?
Yes, it is tied. A lot of it's tied to that mask, and that mask is sort of what sets off this like lifelong rivalry. Because the mask is this like weird artifact that Joseph finds. I can't remember if it's Joseph. I think Joseph is the hero of the first one. Jonathan's his father. Still Jo names.
Okay.
So Joseph finds the mask.
Jonathan is my father's name.
And is like trying to research it because.
So is that because of his lineage that he has some sort of supernatural? Because in the other seasons, it's very apparent that there is some fantasy elements to their having powers.
Like before he really taps into his powers. Like, he doesn't learn how to harness the power of Hamon, which lets him be like, I know it's. He doesn't really learn how to harness that power until a few episodes later. Yeah. So he like sort of, you get the sense that he's not your average kid, but he's not necessarily like the chosen one. He's just able to stand against Dio.
But in this
there's
universe,
like 5 guys trying to take him down on the rugby field. And
he's just a unit, an absolute unit.
Also, that was what I was wondering is last time we did a show, Raina was here when she was talking about sports animes. Is that a good example of what a sports anime would be if it was just that?
No, if it was just that,
because it seems like a battle. It's a fight, but in a sporting.
Yeah,
event.
I mean, there's definitely elements of that in a sports anime. They're less violent for the most part. But even a show like, I'd recommend watching Hajime no Ippo. It's a boxing anime. It's really, really good. Except like they'll be like having these brutal fights, and then mid punch they're like, "My God, he's predicting my every move. I have to come up with something really soon, or else I'm gonna lose this match." And then
fights in anime are like 90% talking.
Yeah, it's a lot of inner monologue. There's a ton of sports anime that's really good.
One thing I did notice about how like things are, as you just said with the sports anime, things are definitely over-explained in this a lot, where they're just like, we're gonna say exactly what we're doing over everything that we're doing.
Yeah, it's a lot of exposition while the thing is happening.
Yeah, it's just like and that was another thing that like kind of in my head I would assume that
every
it's a lot
character's
harder for
a
that to
Bond
happen
villain.
on a manga page to be able to like visualize it in your head, so there probably is more explaining going on.
Yeah, I feel like it's also just like a weird trope in anime where they just love people saying their like feelings, and I think maybe it's because Japan can be somewhat of a repressed society at times.
Really?
So maybe they just appreciate like, oh, these heroes are able to really express themselves well and say what they mean. Just speak plainly.
Really to the point.
Everyone that goes out after watching this, they're like, I'm at the store buying a shirt.
Yes.
This shirt will certainly fit me for months. This seems of good quality. I will buy this shirt.
I hope nothing happens to my lineage.
So, the ones that are current, are they like? Do they take place present day or like in the future?
I'm not caught up to the Golden Wind. I'm partway through Stardust Crusaders myself.
Oh, okay.
But I wanted to give you guys a good sense of sort of what the show's about. But I think that based on what I do know, it does keep progressing closer and closer to the present.
Maybe more generations of JoJo's. They're gonna run out of Joe names.
You say that, you say so, but like they'll come up with more.
Yeah,
or maybe they'll just loop back around.
Jonathan,
Joseph,
Billy Joe
in the current
Armstrong,
one, the golden one,
Yeah.
The Golden Wind rather. His name is Giovanni, shortened to Gio, the Italian equivalent of JoJo.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
What did we miss skipping ahead so much? We came into it was the strength episode of Stardust Crusaders, and obviously it's going to be confusing to us. Dio is someplace else.
Yes.
He's dealing with the witch woman. There's these things called stands.
Yes.
And those are
They're like tarot
tied with tarot cards.
Stands are basically like spirit guardians connected to tarot cards.
They give you like a ghost that lives inside of
it's
you.
like kind of like it's like you're kind of harnessing your energy to manifest this ghost who has special abilities, and each stand user has a different one. JoJo's stand is called Star Platinum, and it is incredibly accurate. It's able to like do really precise things, whether that means like cutting or blocking a lot of things like projectiles coming his way. He's able to make like sort of it's like if he maxed out his critical hit stat.
So how did he get that?
I honestly don't remember. I think it's because he's part of this like Joestar family line.
Okay.
That, like he had that power within him, and then when he realized it, when he like came of age, he was able to sort of help hone it under the guidance.
So how did he find these like 5 other the other members of his boy band who also have stands?
They were assembled as part of this journey. His father, the guy who kind of looks like jacked Indiana Jones, who is the son of the original JoJo, back all the way back in Phantom Blood, who dies. Spoiler alert.
I mean,
Well, I would assume that he would be dead by the 1980s.
He it basically ends with him dying, and then you're like, oh, I didn't think they were just going to kill off the protagonist like that. Now, what adventures are next?
Yeah, same thing happened in Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
Like one of the main characters gets killed
But
pretty.
then he comes back.
Yeah.
Does he? We'll find out.
We'll find out next time.
Yeah. So he assembles his father. Beefy JoJo, Indiana Joe Jones,
Zaddy JoJo.
Yeah, Zaddy Joe Jones. He here's the stupidest one. He can send messages. He has like a camera that he can use to like send messages to like TV screens.
Yeah, so when we came into it, the TV was like broken, but there was a clip of it like showing like there was like pipes all over it, like it was a super powered TV.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
What?
It's like he can sort of like see what's going on elsewhere in the world by like
has a
channeling it
magical
into a TV
TV?
screen.
It's like Obama in the microwave.
Yeah, basically, it's got Obama's spy microwave.
And
they've just assembled some of the others by finding them on their journey. Like sometimes they like beat them in combat, and they're like, "Oh, you've proven like worthy opponents. I shall join you."
So they're heading from Tokyo to eventually Cairo.
Yes.
Explain the journey and the reason why.
So they're basically on a quest to stop Dio from getting these relics and like activating these evils and basically taking over.
Why don't they just fly there on a plane?
Because I think they were on a plane at one point, but it got shot down.
Yeah, they're in the worst possible means of conveyance. A tiny boat that has it's just an open boat.
There's nothing going on. In a plane, but it crashed.
Yeah. So they're
Dio's
the
agents.
sun is just baking them.
Yeah.
They've got a kid with them. And by the way,
She is not a kid.
I
Is
need
she
to
a
ask.
kid?
She's like 12 years old.
Okay,
What?
that is fucked up.
Okay.
Because I literally wrote down like a way to like I was like, it must just be that these guys. And my question was, how tall are these people? Because obviously this is a grown
she's
woman.
like,
they're standing
she's
next
like
to.
waist high. So yeah, at first I'm like, oh, she's a child, and then she gets naked and takes a very sexualized shower.
Maybe she's older. I thought she was 12.
and her
then-
butt's just hanging out for like the rest of the episode.
And
like,
she almost gets assaulted by the orangutan.
yeah, the ape
Yes,
is
the-
clearly like about to rape her in
Yeah.
the shower.
Yes, the rape ape is not the most tasteful character. He
No.
basically is this weird orangutan that loves to just smoke cigarettes and read porn.
Yeah. I was like, oh, he's about to start jacking it in front of this child, but turns out maybe
He just
she's
wanted
not
to
a
share
child.
an apple.
Yeah. The apple also never explained. How
It's
was
to
it?
show that he is like super intelligent because he can cut his own apples.
Oh.
Like he shouldn't
Okay.
have that manual dexterity. He should just be
Yeah.
like mashing it into his gob.
So the whole time, though, he's controlling the boat.
yes.
So he's
it's
locked
like
in
really
there.
this ruined old yacht, but he's turned it into this like oil tanker through the power of his stand.
He's locked in this cell, but he's not really locked in it.
Correct.
He's kind of running things.
He's waiting for them.
Yeah. Also, the boat comes to life and hooks a
eating
man
everyone, yeah.
hooks a man in the
Yeah.
throat
Yeah.
and rips him up.
It's more of that just ultra violence out of nowhere. Just
Yeah,
damn.
It's
fuck.
just, it's not good to be to be along for the ride with JoJo and the gang. You're gonna get murdered.
They get soaked into the steel of the boat and start getting crushed. They're the worst possible things and the worst ways to die happen in this episode, and then almost happen in this episode. But yes, that is very weird. And then she's like part of the gang too, so it's
Yeah, she like kind of stows away with them, and they're like trying to get rid of her, like get her to safety, but she keeps getting into trouble. And
Yeah.
then like
she reminds me of Penny in Inspector Gadget.
Yes.
Like she's the one that's like she gets on the phone at one point to like let people know that one of the characters was taken over by one of the cards
she's
or whatever.
occasionally helpful, but usually just a liability.
Yeah, but no,
Yeah.
she always like stows away.
Yes.
And
Yeah, Anne, I believe is her name.
And
yeah.
yeah, I was like probably the standout moment of my watch through was when she transitioned from a 12-year-old girl to a naked, highly sexualized adult woman
With
in the course of a moment.
One of the creepiest moments in this episode specifically was the orangutan when it comes into the room where she's showering and just goes and has like a 30-second long growl that's like
Interminable growl.
yeah, just I was so it hurt me all the way down to my bones. I was just like, this is not good for her.
No,
Because at first you're like, oh, this orangutan's cool. He's smoking cigs, reading porn. He's a cool but nope, he's very bad. He's a very bad
He's
person.
a real piece of shit.
this
yeah.
monkey fucks.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he does. I just checked.
Luckily, he doesn't get
I
to
just
in this.
checked the sort of wiki for JoJo, and it says she's an 11-year-old girl.
no,
Which-
no,
Dude,
what?
I don't know.
That's fucked up.
Maybe she's supposed to be older in the anime. Who knows? It's kind of like how Daenerys Targaryen's supposed to be
jeez.
like 14 years old in the book.
Let's say for the sake of
Yeah.
argument that if it's on Crunchyroll, Hulu, and Verve, that retroactively they can just say that she's probably of age.
I'm gonna choose to believe she is not 11 years old because wow.
Yeah, that's a
Wow,
bold
Japan.
move.
that's a yikes from me.
Yeah, like literally, I wrote down
Holy shit.
my exact note was not sure I should be watching this, and how tall are these dudes compared to people like the woman?
Yeah.
I admit I forgot about that shower scene before I assigned
Sent
this
it over?
episode to you. I just remembered the porn monkey, and I was like, that'll be fun. And then I was like, oh no.
We're gonna have a lot of questions.
Yeah. Well,
But I mean, it's like, so when we watch like Food Wars, there were characters in that were supposed to be like 15.
Yeah, they're
Like,
they're in high
they're
school,
like
basically.
yeah.
they're like taking sexy baths and like their nips are like just barely obscured and
that's
shit.
the problem with a lot of anime is like there's a lot of questionable sexualization of
Yes.
what most of the world would regard as underage people.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I get that it's like it's part of their storytelling, but it's certainly uncomfortable here.
Yeah, it's don't do it.
Don't do it. But that was overall, aside from the shower scene, a pretty tight-knit, good episode
Yeah.
where they go in, they do a big fight, and they get out, and then it lays out the rest of their plan, which is eventually going to Cairo, but
Yes.
they're very excited to get to Singapore for some reason.
Yeah, it turns into like kind of a paid advertisement for Singapore for a second there.
Finally!
Singapore's lovely.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, Singapore, where East meets West, all thanks to modern capitalism.
Yeah. And
We
look at all
should stay
these-
in that lovely hotel.
Yes.
Wow.
everything is very nice here. They have trolleys and trams and sky cars and everything. But so in this episode, obviously something is messed up with one of his buddies. Turns out that he has been taken over by one of the stands.
It's not even him. It's one of the stands has taken his form.
Has taken his form, yes.
And is doing a terrible job of
keeping it a secret.
hiding that fact.
Yeah.
Just
such an asshole.
Being overtly suspicious by eating cockroaches, which is never explained.
Yeah,
no, they were rhino beetles.
Right. Oh, because if it eats other life forms, it like grows.
Yeah, no, you're thinking of when he almost kills the guy who stole his coconut.
Yeah,
where he calls him like a limp-dicked cockroach or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he eats a beetle, but he calls that guy... No, he says... he compares him to a cockroach's dick. I don't know, there's some weird like insults in this show.
Yeah, I mean, but right out of the gate, it's like...
They're very inventive with how they dunk on each other.
Yeah, they're that was the first sign that something was obviously wrong and this guy is bad, because this man, I mean, yeah, he steals his coconut, but he puts him in a backbreaker for like a solid 60 seconds where you're slowly watching
We don't see this guy recover either.
Yeah,
I'm left to assume that he later died of his injuries.
Are you trying over there? Are you trying to like justify the girl taking the shower?
No,
somehow?
I'm trying to pull up the yellow temperance stuff to remember certain details.
Yeah, so
like
he's
the
like
fact that the guy who uses him is named Rubber Soul.
Okay, yeah, because in what I assume is where the commercials would go, it almost has that type of Pokemon. Can you guess what Pokemon this is?
Yeah,
it has like the strand or the
details
stand
as you learn
and
more.
I can't say stand without thinking of like the stands, like the fans that are like overreactive to everything.
Yeah.
But so they have those kind of breaks, and is that because I didn't know what I was.
Yeah,
seeing.
that's like where the commercial would go.
But no, what I'm saying is like is in those moments, is that where it's telling you what the strand or the stand?
That at a certain point, once they reveal themselves, that's when you learn like new details. It gives you a sense of like their power level.
Yeah,
it's got like kind of like if you're looking at their stats in like a video game menu. It tells you a little bit about them.
Yeah, so they eventually it becomes very obvious that this guy has been taken over because he transfers.
Kakyoin has been replaced by an imposter.
And I did love how JoJo, whatever JoJo this is, tried in vain multiple times to fix anything, and it just got worse. That was fantastic. He like maybe I'll just. I mean, sure, this is gonna hurt like hell.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just burn it off.
Light my hand on fire. Oh, jeez. Let me.
Yeah.
Hey, little kid, give me your popsicle. Yeah, I'll buy you a new one. He never does.
No, that kid gets.
That kid lost a lot,
and his dog was brutally murdered right in front of him.
Yeah.
That yellow goop, just for no reason. He's
Pop
just
the
like,
dog's head
hey,
right
check.
off.
This goop's pretty dangerous. Check this out. just squeezes a dog until its head pops
there's
off.
a lot of.
Meanwhile, it's just grabbing its own new tit
being like,
after it took over a new woman.
That's how you know it's a bad guy. Also, in I think the first episode I made you watch, when they get to Ogre Street, that like bad part of town, you see like a cat eating a puppy or something.
Yeah,
that's how you know it's a bad part of town.
Yeah, just turn around. Ugh.
These cats are in charge.
I did. Oh, back to episode 1 or the season 1, episode 2. My favorite part was the fact that when JoJo finally learns that Dio is trying to murder his father, his first course of action is to leave for several days and leave Dio at home alone with his dad.
Look, but there's doctors. He's like, I don't know what's up, but he says only trust these guys.
It was the 1800s. Smart people hadn't been invented yet.
Yeah, and then he goes in the first episode. He's like, it was very strange because it was like London, the only place where you can get Asian medicine. And then he's like, where's your Asian medicine?
Excuse me. Oh, over on Ogre Street? Don't mind if I do.
Yeah. And also watch out for Jack the Ripper, who's mentioned at the beginning.
Yeah.
Never seen again.
Jack the Ripper is just, he's like, by the way, Jack the Ripper's murdering everyone in London right now.
Yeah.
So good luck.
Yeah, set the stage with this being dangerous. But yeah.
Why doesn't JoJo do something about it?
JoJo's got his hands full.
He beat the shit out of a gang with a knife hat guy.
Yeah.
Handily.
But then JoJo has to go back and save his dad, or else his inheritance is like pretty screwed.
Right. It's
kind of selfish.
True,
Yeah, like the Dio's just like, I'm going to steal your life.
Yeah.
Later on, like, there's a moment where JoJo is going to have his first kiss with this girl, and Dio swoops in and steals the first kiss.
What?
And he's just like I did this so you would never be able to say you were her. Like, so that way she can never say you were her first kiss.
Yeah.
Like,
How old are they supposed to be?
I think they're supposed to be like 16, 18.
What?
Like, I think they're supposed to be like young men. Like,
with 8 abs.
yes. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like
And
sort
abs
of
on their back,
coming
too.
of age in the first one. In this one, I feel like JoJo's he's at the bare minimum 18, probably like 20 or 21 though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, you kind of get that, obviously, in the first episode we watched where...
He's still a student.
like, he's doing a great job of playing football.
Yeah.
But he eventually has to give up and give it to Dio, who gets, like, the glory for getting a touchdown or whatever. If they're playing American
They're playing
football
rugby,
rules.
I thought.
Oh,
Yeah, it
rugby?
was rugby.
Yeah. I don't know the difference.
Yeah.
But
No one
so
does.
how far in were we when that finished? How many more tarot cards and how much of the journey did they have to go on?
Oh, it's so those 2 episodes from Stardust Crusaders are pretty much right at the beginning.
Okay.
That's episode like I think I gave you episode like
It's
6
like 3 and
7
5 or something.
It was like 7 and 9, I thought.
Yeah, it's pretty early on. It's like there's I
didn't
want
write
to
it
say like 30 or 60 episodes
what?
in Stardust Crusaders.
How long has this been on the air, or how long was that season?
I don't know how long that season was. That was like something. It was one of the biggest seasons by far.
Well, I know that you said that the manga was out in the 80s, which blows me away because I would have assumed this was made in like the 90s or 2000s.
Yeah.
When did the
So
show
Stardust
first premiere?
Crusaders was released, I think, as a manga in 1989 through 1992.
But when
And
did the animated series or the anime actually start airing? Even the first season.
the first season of the anime, I have to double check this to make sure I'm not, because there was like an original video animation that came out first. The original video animation, which adapted Stardust Crusaders, came out in 93.
Oh, really?
And that was a 13 episode series.
Wow.
But then they sort of went back and did a larger version. And this one started in 2014, and it's 48 episodes.
So that's
48.
pretty
but
recent.
that's just Stardust Crusaders. There were like the other 2 beforehand that were longer, and I think came out beforehand too.
Yeah, that's
okay.
I had absolutely no idea how prolific this
Oh yeah,
property was at all. Like, I had no idea even that it even existed until we started doing the show and people were suggesting it to watch. Like, there was a bunch that I obviously knew about, but this one just seemed like so out of left field that I just
Yeah.
imagined that it was, obviously going back to my first point that I made, I felt like it was probably made within the last 3 years and something more similar to like a One Punch Man than a classic anime manga that has been around since Dragon Ball Z times.
yeah. No, it's been around for a long time. Like it took a while to get sort of like the current iteration of the anime is more recent. I think like started like 2010 or 2012 is when they sort of like really kicked this new iteration into high gear.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been around for a long time.
And is there new stuff constantly coming out?
Yeah.
What are they on now?
So they're on their 5th season of the like sort of newer iteration, which is the Golden Wind, or so that is sort of based off the 5th longer manga story arc.
Okay, and that's still like airing now.
Yeah,
or-
if it's not still airing right now, I think the season may have concluded. But I think that should all be on Crunchyroll. It was simulcasting there, so when there was a new episode in Japan, you could watch on Crunchyroll as well. I don't think there's been any announcement about the 6th season, but I would be shocked if they didn't do it.
yeah. Specifically, like, when did you get into JoJo's, and in what, like, what were you watching before, and what made you say, yeah, there's the show I need to watch?
I stumbled into the world of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure last year, so I was kind of late to the
okay.
game. It's been something that's been on my radar for a long time. Whenever I do like an anime guide on Nerdist, they'd be like, yo, where's JoJo at? You gotta watch JoJo. Like, it's one of those things that like people that watch anime, it is beloved because it is so weird, and this is like such an addictive series that it's so beloved. And like, I've encountered a lot of the memes and stuff online before, but it wasn't until like 2017 that my buddy Albro Lundy and I, we sat down. We're like, hey, let's watch an anime series. Like, I've heard good stuff about this. You have too. Never seen it. Threw it on, and just like we could feel our brains leaking out of our ears. Like, it was just.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot that we didn't even talk about the thing that I've actually seen online, which is a scene in the 3rd episode where it's like,
Yeah. Well, the first time he does it, it's because it's not actually him, and it's the Yellow Man. But then later in the episode, the real version of the guy does that, And it's like, why? It's not explained why
it's one of those,
he would
I
do
think
such
it's
a
just
weird thing.
Weird fucking thing where you're supposed to think that, oh, this is just another like way this creep was showing off that he was like the bad Kakyoin.
Yeah.
But then at the end, you see Kakyoin also rolling a cherry like in a horrifying, like a weird murdery erotic way on his tongue.
This is not a thing anyone does.
Yeah, but apparently it's a real thing that he does, and like other guys just impersonating him.
And obviously JoJo looked at him like, this fucking guy.
Yeah, no, he's just like JoJo's just like
cherries.
JoJo in that one, he's just like, fuck my life. He just hates everything about it.
Yeah, it didn't seem like JoJo was having a lot of fun.
He's a very
episode.
reluctant hero, especially in Stardust Crusaders.
Oh, the line was, you're worth about as much as a sewer cockroach's dick.
Oh, okay.
It's not even you are a sewer. You're worth about the
as
same.
much. Maybe I could.
How much are
I
sewer
can haggle it
cockroach
down.
dicks going for these days?
Honestly, in Singapore, they fetch a pretty penny.
Well, was that like foreshadowing? Was that at the episode where he tries to suck JoJo into the sewer to hold him there so that he can't attack him? Isn't that episode or no?
Yeah.
Where he, like, the like crawfish go into the sewer and then he's like,
aha, I've discovered the sewage system here has allowed me to easily gain access to that vent through this manhole over here.
As you can see, I'm standing at the vent.
If I wasn't clear enough, what I'm talking about is the fact that that vent seems to have the same pipage as this manhole here. Therefore, I will send my yellow goop through the manhole and out through the pipe.
I think sometimes they need to over-explain just so you won't question the insane leaps in logic that they make, because it's just like half the time you're just wondering like, why is this happening?
Yeah. But they just tell you.
Why is this the logical way you sort of like heightened this story and advanced this plot? You know what? I don't care. Just keep going.
We thought it'd look cool to put some shit in a sewer.
Basically.
Yeah.
Basically.
Overall, like, probably not the favorite anime I've seen, but also
No.
I think
better.
My problem is I had too high of like zany expectations.
I think
for
this
it.
is better if you watch in context. This is one I would recommend, like not jumping around, because
I could see that.
once you know the story more and you've like gotten to know these characters and like the history there, it feels more important and you're more on board. But like I kind of threw to the wolves with this one. It was just wanted to
thank you for that.
I really liked the episodes. It's just like I said, it was way more straightforward than I had assumed.
The 100-year time jump might also, but like a lot of episodes are straightforward, but then there's other ones where it seems like a straightforward story, but the things that happen within there, like, oh, so I know the story has to start with this hero confronting the villain and then like defeating him, but the way they get from point A to point B is a fucking like nightmare.
Yeah.
It is. You just don't understand, like, wait, you could have just punched him, but instead you like went into the sewer and like did all these things. And then,
the yellow man's weakness was getting punched in the face. Like that was the
it's
entire,
a very identified.
the entire problem is solved just by punching him in the face.
It's a brutal weakness.
As most problems are.
And then
no one likes it. No one likes getting punched.
he gets punched in the face and he's like, all right, I give up. And then tries again. And then JoJo beats the shit out of him again just by like throwing water up that manhole.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh jeez, the manhole that I just
damn
used
it.
now being used against me.
Also,
To be clear, the manhole's connected to
It's like the worst of the
grace.
day.
I don't know if this was actual symbolism or not, but I'm gonna go for it. That horny orangutan, and I keep saying orangutan because
Orangutan.
it's fine.
Because of those old tank commercials where they had one drinking their juice.
He obviously was horny
Yeah.
for that
Real horned up.
poor young girl. When he gets defeated, and the ship is collapsing on itself.
Yeah.
There is a like a crane that goes. Like doesn't like break, but like
just
slowly goes
deflates.
limp. Like
Yeah.
it just literally goes
Dude, it's
from rock
definitely-
hard to
it's
limp.
gotta be.
Yeah.
JoJo gets like stabbed by a fan, and again,
And then it's
having
like,
no pain, just like I've been stabbed by this
Oh,
fan. Like,
this-
oh my gosh, he's more shocked by the fact that the fan is like drooping than the fact that he got stabbed deep by a fan.
He's used to taking a beating. He's not used to reality bending in on itself.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. What do you think, Elliot? What was your overall reaction?
I mean, I can see why people like it. I don't know if it's really up my alley, but I mean, yeah, it had a lot going for it. I liked the animation, like every anime that I've watched. The animation was like 95% good, and then there were just glaring points where I'm like, okay, you had like 10 guys animating this, and yet what the fuck is this? Like, there's a part where there's a conversation happening, and like there's like 5 characters on screen, and all of them are drawn quite well, and then there's just like one face in the corner where the guy looks just absolutely ridiculous,
just like an NPC.
Yeah. Just like, no, I mean.
But yeah, the backgrounds,
I liked it
like
for,
the landscapes.
I recommend going back and watching like from the beginning.
But the beginning as an entirety, or the beginning of the story arc that we were watching?
You can start at Stardust Crusaders if you want, but I think there's a lot that you'll gain by going back and starting at Phantom Blood.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I was more into like the Phantom Blood stuff.
Because then you'll have context for all the Stardust Crusaders stuff.
Yeah, it's a little more grounded there. Like, it doesn't just immediately be like, all right, shit's crazy.
Yeah, you'll see how stands evolve from Hamon and how they use that energy to fight the vampires and all that.
I mean, I like how gory it was.
Yeah, it's definitely gory, and it's like full of like weird music references, so it's almost like this fun Easter egg hunt where you're just like, all right, who's this
Not
character?
for kids.
Like, some of them are pretty obvious, like Jay Guile, but others are more obtuse, like in this case of this this rape ape forever.
Yeah,
that was good much.
That's the thing with like all animes, though. It's like I get the cartoons can be for adults, but like I always have trouble like figuring out like who the target audience is.
Especially with anime.
I don't think kids should read this.
Absolutely, absolutely not. It's
T for teen.
Yeah, maybe. Would this be? Was one of the ones that was on like Toonami or whatever?
I don't think this ever hit Toonami, if I'm not mistaken. If it did, bold choice.
Yeah,
this would be more Adult Swim than Toonami, I'd say.
Oh, okay, wait. So Toonami was
daytime
because they did it again, but it was at night,
like early evening, and then sometimes it would go late into the night.
They did a new one where it was like at midnight or something.
Yeah, because I guess that's the only time they can get that, like nowadays.
So I remember Cowboy Bebop being on. That was Adult Swim, or
so like it was Adult Swim came out later. So Toonami came first, and it was usually on around like 5:30 to like 8 p.m. usually on like Fridays.
Like after school.
Or, like, it would be like after school slot where you could watch like Dragon Ball Z, and I think Friday nights it would go later.
Mm-hmm.
So they would show like anime until like 2 a.m. And then it would switch over to like old episodes of like Wacky Races and like all the like weird stuff, Hanna-Barbera stuff that would later get shifted over to Boomerang. So yeah, it was mostly,
which is actually on VRV now.
Yeah,
Boomerang is. Yeah,
it was
all
like
the Yogi Bear that your heart desires.
Hey, boo boo, go on this bizarre adventure.
I can't wait for those crossovers. They should do like the
Flintstones meet the Joestars.
Like the Huckleberry Hound Green Lantern is a great example of crossover done right. Yeah, just do some, go bold with it.
Yeah,
Warner Brothers.
I mean, Warner Brothers has already done some cool crossovers with DC Comics.
That's what I'm saying. The Green Lantern Huckleberry Hound one was wild.
Yeah, the one I really liked was Elmer Fudd and Batman, where Elmer Fudd's like hunting him through the Gotham City.
Yeah, and all the other Looney Tunes are like anthropomorphic like humans.
There's one where Snagglepuss is a gay Southern playwright. Like
he gets blacklisted by Joe McCarthy.
Yeah,
that's Mark Russell as well. Mark Russell did the Huckleberry Hound one where Huckleberry Hound was Huckleberry Hound in real life, and people loved him in like the 70s or 80s or whatever, and now he's a failed stand-up comic.
Oh no,
doing rooms that hold like 50 people but only like 5 people are in there, and one of the people is who becomes Green Lantern, who like loves, so they become like friends. It's really fucking strange, and Huckleberry does a lot of like talking about how he grew up in the South with the KKK, and like it's just it's they should do anime like manga crossed over with this. It would be amazing.
100%.
Yeah.
They already did one where I think the Avengers crossed over with Attack on Titan. So
perfect.
Just a matter of time.
Oh, that'd be wild.
Yeah.
Well, you got any stuff you want to plug? Coming up on Nerdist this holiday. This episode goes up.
Who knows? It's during the holidays. So
at this point,
what are we looking forward to next year from Dan Casey?
If you wanna find some more anime recommendations, I have a bunch of back episodes of my show, The Dan Cave, on Nerdist.com. I do a lot of anime guides there. But yeah, just I don't know, just follow.
How many books you got at this point?
I've written. I'd call it 2.5 because I did an updated version of my Star Wars book.
Okay.
But it does have like 100 new pages and like all that.
You're gonna do 1,000 things every weeb needs to do before they die.
I don't think I could. I don't think I could
go see a Yes concert.
Actually, speaking of weebs, if you want to watch something cool, check out this web series called Too Kawaii for Comfort. It's kind of like BoJack Horseman meets Napoleon Dynamite in terms of tone. It's about these 5 friends who are going to an anime convention, and shit gets wild.
Is that live action?
It is. Yes, live action.
that sounds
it's this really
interesting.
good web series. It's just like it's like cringe at its finest, but like done very well and shot very well and feels very real.
This is on YouTube?
These 2 guys,
Okay.
Luke Palmer, John Bickerstaff wrote it. You might know them. Luke Palmer also runs a YouTube channel called Rhino Stew. They went viral a while back for their theory about how Snowpiercer is actually a sequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Great video, great theory. Check that out as well. And then follow me at Dan Casey on Twitter.
Nice.
Yeah.
You got,
Not
good that you
osteoporosis
got that
anymore.
name.
No, I have that on Instagram because they were not active on at Dan Casey on Twitter, but they were active on Instagram.
I see.
Yes.
Well, at least you robbed them of their original Twitter name.
Yeah, at least I stole their life. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Well,
it
good for you.
was just this like ginger who had never tweeted once. Just a picture of him in front of the frickin' Ferris wheel at Coachella. Fuck that guy. It's my name. You can go to hell.
Well, good. At least that has a happy ending.
Yeah.
'cause this
Yeah,
show,
fuck that guy.
the girl's stowed away.
Hey, she's fine.
Yeah.
She's okay.
Yeah, I don't think she is. I think that there's gonna be more trouble for her in the.
She's gonna get some poor man in trouble.
Yeah.
In legal trouble.
Not for at least 6 more seasons.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out the other episodes of Idiots Watching Anime and
Patreon, YouTube membership.
Yeah.
This isn't sponsored, but do all our sponsorships. Join the Discord.
Patreon. Patreon.com.
Patreon. Follow us on Twitch and Google Plus, baby.
Click all the links.
Live Journal, Live Leak.
We should start uploading to Live Leak.
Shocking video.
Documentingreality.com or whatever. See you on Ogrish. Bye-bye.